Okay, we're finally doing this. I was gonna pair this with something else, but screw it. I don't have time. We're looking at the 2025 Superman movie. Superman's had a long and storied run with movies. He made his big screen debut all the way back in 1951 with Superman and the Mole Men. But it's really the 1978 movie starring Christopher Reeve that really made the Man of Steel a movie icon. Then it was an uneven ride afterwards, including the 2013 Man of Steel, that raises the question as to how best to portray one of DC Comics' flagship superheroes. So this Superman movie was supposed to be a sequel to Man of Steel, but Warner Brothers wasn't sure about what to do next with the character. They tried getting James Gunn as director, but at the time he settled for doing The Suicide Squad, the good one, before he finally had some idea as to what he wanted his Superman movie to look like. He even had the green light to serve as co-chair and co-CEO for the newly formed DC Studios in October 2022, which would start a new DC film universe after a lot of the previous DCEU movies failed to impress. So what better way to kick off a whole new cinematic universe than going back to basics with the iconic Superman? And though its production stalled due to the 2023 labor strikes and whatnot, we were given a movie that proved to be pretty enjoyable despite a hostile political and social media landscape, which sneered at any concept of kindness and decency in a superhero story. So let's leap a tall building with a single bound as we look at Superman 2025. No need to give out a full origin story. We're only given quick text drops to get us up to speed about Clark Kent crash landing in Kansas before growing up to become Superman. Recently, he stopped the country of Baravia from invading its neighbor, Jarampur, so it sent out the Hammer of Baravia to fight our hero. It went about as well as you'd expect. Wait, he lost? So meet the new Superman, played by David Corenswet. You can tell that this movie's tone is a real shift from Zack Snyder's Man of Steel with how colorful his suit is, and how the film is not ashamed of showcasing that. Anyway, our hero whistles out for help. And who's coming to help him? Crypto, the super dog. Crypto, it's super dog time. Stop. And there you go, the reason I can do this movie. And it's not just a cameo, because Crypto is a major supporting character here. As with most media appearances, Crypto takes the form of a white dog. This one was modeled after James Gunn's actual dog, Ozu, who I think is a terrier mutt / schnauzer mix. Anyway, Crypto takes a while to realize that Superman wants his help to reach the Fortress of Solitude, which in this version takes the form of massive crystals that rise up when he's nearby. It actually has its own robot staff who are known by their numbers, though Superman calls number 4 Gary, voiced by Alan Tudyk.
No need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it. We have no consciousness whatsoever. Merely automatons here to serve.
The robots help get Superman onto a healing station, where he also reviews a hologram recording of his birth parents, Jor-El and Lara. Sadly, the recording is damaged, meaning Clark can't hear everything his parents wanted to say to him, but Gary insists that they loved him. To heal him, the robots expose their boss to the yellow sun, which quickly recharges his powers. While not fully healed, Superman insists on heading back to fight the Hammer since he's likely still causing trouble in Metropolis. But not before he chastises Crypto for being unruly.
What is this? What the hey, dude? I thought you destroyed the whole Superman robots. I thought I told you to keep an eye on him.
We feed the canine, but he is unruly.
It's nice to have a Superman who could be funny like this. And look, he flies so fast he ends up forming the title card. But before that, while he leaves, a woman we'll come to know as the Engineer, played by Marcia Gabriela de Faria Chacon, finds the Fortress of Solitude. We'll get to her in a bit. Right now in Metropolis, the Hammer of Baravia taunts the people about how Superman abandoned them. One woman takes a selfie and, yeah. This is all a ploy by everyone's favorite billionaire villain, Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult. Holt even went out of his way to shave his head so he can resemble Lex from All-Star Superman, though James Gunn based him off the Lex Luthor Man of Steel comics along with his reckless scientific genius self from the 50s and 60s. Anyway, Luthor and co. are guiding the Hammer in how he reacts to Superman's attacks, and are even doing so in code, like
12C. 18A.
wait a while, and we'll eventually get the really memeable command. Superman loses again, but one guy named Malik Ali, played by Dinesh Tyagarajan, goes to help him out of the hole he made. I especially like this scene since the civilians are showing a little more faith by worrying more about Superman than the fact he lost, especially once the Hammer just leaves. If Zack Snyder was still the director, there'd be a lot more unnecessary angsting. It's a way of showing that Superman belongs here, which will be an important point later. Anyway, as the engineer approaches the fortress, it sinks before she arrives. She's told to return to Luthor Corp HQ, and when we get there, we see the Hammer showing up too. He actually gets in there through a portal device that led into some kind of pocket dimension before going into another machine that takes him to Luthor. It's here we learn that the Hammer is really named Ultraman, no relation to the Japanese tokusatsu series. And just to get this out of the way now, the overly cheery girl that seems to be Lex's girlfriend is Eve Teschmacher, played by Sarah Sampaio. Over at the Daily Planet, we see Superman under his civilian identity, Clark Kent. And yeah, Corn Sweat is absolutely perfect when he's trying to go incognito. One way to discourage people from suspecting you're Superman is to look as dorky as possible, and wear glasses for good measure. We then are introduced to other Daily Planet employees like Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Casando, the obnoxious bully Steve Lombard, played by Beck Bennett, Cat Grant, played by Michaela Hoover, Editor-in-Chief Perry White, played by Wendell Pierce, and of course, Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan. The current topic within the DP is releasing a possible opinion piece on how metahumans beyond Superman, which the intro briefly mentions, shouldn't stick their nose into geopolitics. Apparently, Superman is incognizant enough about the consequences of his actions on the world stage, even if that means letting off Baravian President Vasil Gurkos, played by Zlatko Buric, who's essentially a stand-in for every fascist leader imaginable, not just Putin, Trump, Netanyahu, etc. Over at the Pentagon, Lex is trying to advertise his paramilitary group to the American military. They're called the Raptors, which include Ultraman, who has powers similar to Superman, and the Engineer, who can manipulate nanites to make pretty much anything. This is obviously a ploy to discredit Superman for interfering with Lex's Baravian allies, but his American clients aren't budging. To them, Superman hasn't done anything worth accusing of and is preventing wars from happening, so why rock the boat? That night, Lois comes home to her apartment and it sounds like someone is intruding. But it's just Clark, trying to make breakfast for dinner, and
Very funny today.
What?
It's hilarious, the little back and forth we had going.
so if breakfast is for dinner, do they have sex in the morning? At night? So in this movie, Lois already knows that Clark is Superman. Other stories try to make his reveal to her an entire arc, but no sense doing that here. As a reporter, she tries to cover for him, since he's kinda sloppy. And here, he seems he can do an actual interview with her, and she takes up that chance. This leads into one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and a good counterpoint to those who think that Superman's story isn't a good fit for more modern tastes. The main point Lois is pressing to Superman is his defense of Jarhampar, and how he confronted Vasil.
I flew him out to the desert, and I placed him against a cactus.
Of course, during this interview, Clark finds it hard to justify his actions as Superman, while Lois reminds him about how his actions have consequences that he can't predict or control. She does have a point and is trying to play devil's advocate to help him see the bigger picture, and in a way to preserve her journalistic integrity. But Clark finally hones in on why he took matters into his own hands against Baravia.
People were going to die!
The one core aspect of Superman is his emphasis on the value of life. Even as the strongest being on Earth with no real competition, he would consciously limit how he uses his powers to resolve a conflict and prevent anyone from dying. That's why people see him as an exemplar of humanity, and his approach comes from trying to do right by people. Innocent people shouldn't have to be caught up in war, especially if the invaders are only there just to take their homes, their lands, and their lives. What Moravia is doing is no different from what Russia, Israel, or even the US has been doing lately. And Superman sees himself as someone who could prevent violence done on behalf of fascist oligarchs and their allies. Naturally, there's always the cheap and cowardly way out to show opposition to Superman: social media, and using hashtags like super shit.
Super shit? Come on, Lois, you know that one specifically irritates me.
And eventually, Superman gets tired and wants to leave.
I knew this would never work.
What does that mean?
More on that later. For now, Lex and crew, plus Eve for some reason, arrive in Antarctica to reach the Fortress of Solitude. Somehow, Lex is able to make it appear, and when the robots try to shoo away the intruders...
Can we talk?
Oh no! It'll be alright, don't worry about it.
I can't stand the metahumans, but he's so much worse. Superman. He's not a man. He's an it.
Luthor, the racist tech bro. The engineer then hacks into the computer system to find any dirt on Superman because Luthor wants to run our hero's name into the ground. After the engineer got what she was looking for, Luthor sends out 2 of his henchmen to serve as a diversion. Or rather, they are to unleash something onto Metropolis. Aw, it's like a little Stitch gremlin thing. But it ends up growing overnight, and now it is huge. Superman notices this and tries to fight the monster, while trying to prevent it from causing damage to the city. And crushing this dog that won't go away. Again, this is something that's a welcome change from Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Trailer shot! Luckily, our hero isn't alone, because here comes the Justice Gang! It's led by a Green Lantern named Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion, who insisted on the iconic bowl cut for maximum douchiness, the Kendra Saunders version of Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Merced, and Mr. Terrific, played by Eddie Gathegi. For those who aren't familiar with these characters, the Green Lantern can use a ring to form various constructs made by hard green light. Hawkgirl uses her alien heritage and gear to fight evildoers, and Mr. Terrific is the smart guy with cool crime-fighting tech. Unlike Superman, they're more willing to use lethal force if it's necessary, since it might be difficult even for Superman to take this creature in alive for study or whatever. He does save a squirrel though, and as much as we wanted him to rescue a cat, the squirrel works just as well. Really, any image of Superman saving people from dangerous situations can make for hardcore material. Now, to kill the kaiju, Mr. Terrific sends his T-spheres inside to blow it up. As it falls, Superman catches it to make sure it doesn't land on anyone.
Woo! Kaiju steaks all round, huh?
Quite the contrast between hero groups, but at least the Justice Gang ain't like the bloodthirsty elite. While this is happening, Lois chats with Kat about her rocky relationship with Clark. She's hinting at a breakup, and eventually we see one guy staring at a special news bulletin about Superman's mission to destroy us?
This has to be BS.
Well, yeah, it doesn't make sense given what you just went through. But apparently this report is based on something from The Sphere News, which is clearly a metaphor for Fox News or InfoWars. Either way, it received the data that the engineer stole from the Fortress of Solitude, specifically that recording of Clark's Kryptonian parents and what they really wanted to say to him, now translated into English.
The people there are simple and profoundly confused. Weak of mind and spirit and body. Lord over the planet.
Well, shit! Now, before you think that Luthor doctored the footage or something, because he's more than capable of doing that, James Gunn confirms that this part of Clark's origin for this continuity is real. This does go against the source material from writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster. And even Man of Steel portrays Clark's birth parents as well-intentioned and forward-thinking. There isn't anything from those stories to suggest that Jor-El and Laura were xenophobic or even patronizing towards non-Kryptonians. Regardless, the crowd turns against Superman, immediately, which itself could be an allusion to James Gunn's own misfortunes when his distasteful jokes on social media resurfaced from the 2010s. To my knowledge, I don't know if he apologized before they came up, but if you've been around social media, you know the drill. The Justice Gang confronts him about the video, and Superman says that he didn't see the other half of the video because his version was damaged. But he does realize that the Fortress of Solitude was broken into, and sure enough, he finds it in disrepair. To make matters worse, his robot friends are broken, and Krypto is missing. As this goes on, Vassal publicly condemns Superman because he's such an asshole, and it turns out he's working with Lex. He even has his own secret portal tunnel. Speaking of Lex, he's surprised he didn't have to edit the footage of the stolen video to cast down on Superman.
Little did I know his own parents would be providing it.
So, yeah, he got incredibly lucky this time. Superman flies to LexCorp to demand Krypto back, and Lex has cameras in place to show this violent confrontation. Yeah, how dare he try to get his dog back after it was stolen? Then there's more controversy over this confrontation, and we even have a Peacemaker cameo.
Can't say I'm surprised, Clevis. It's guys like this, they always got a whole bunch of dark, ugly secrets.
You have a dog?
Superman confides in Lois about whether his past actions meant anything after the truth about his Kryptonian parents came to life. The Justice Gang are fighting some interdimensional imp. I guess they can handle it without him. Lois reassures him, and they bond over their choice in music. She wonders how she questions everyone while Clark is willing to trust in everyone.
You trust everyone and think everyone you've ever met is, like, beautiful.
Maybe that's the real punk rock.
So Superman turns himself in so he can find Krypto. Before he goes, he expresses his love for Lois, but even as the police take him in, they treat him way too rough.
Is that necessary?
No one read me my rights.
Of course, decided those rights don't apply to extraterrestrial organisms. Therefore, at this point, Superman, you don't have any rights to read.
Gee, where have I seen this before? The Raptors take custody of our hero, and they take him to the pocket dimension that Lex apparently made by recreating the Big Bang. Aside from this creepy looking thing named Mr. Handsome, we have Metamorpho, played by Anthony Carrigan, who has the power to turn into any known substance, even
Kryptonite.
And speaking of things too real for this movie, Baravia is back to sending troops over to invade Jahampar. Gee, amazing that this obviously evil dictator makes a move once Superman is out of the picture. Obviously, Vassal was coordinating with Lex, and Lois realizes that their agreement isn't just about arms sales.
That's way too much sugar, Lois.
I party like a rock star, choir boy.
Well, Jimmy's source tells him about Superman being in the pocket dimension. He doesn't give away who that source is, but I think we know. Oh, and we also learn where the online Superman hate campaign came from.
7. Trashing you online.
Hashtag super shit.
This is totally something Lex would have done in the 50s. All that's missing is a table with 40 stolen cakes. Krypto is also here chasing virtual squirrels, so again, he's fine. But there's another purpose for this pocket dimension.
This is our private correctional institution. Yeah, most cells are rented out to governments who want to keep their incarcerations of political agitators private.
Gee, where have I seen this before? And of course, Lex is forcing Metamorpho to keep Superman in check by threatening the life of his son Joseph, who looks like a baby Martian. Meanwhile, Jimmy meets with his contact, who is in fact Eve, and she's helping him out because she's totally into him, though he doesn't feel the same. Lois then reports that the US is not following the Geneva Convention when it detained Superman, as if that's the first time we did something like that. So she tries approaching the Justice Gang for help. Guy Gardner refuses because he's not supposed to get involved in politics, or so he says.
Oh, that's part of the vows.
It's implied, yeah.
An implied vow.
Every time there's something he doesn't want to do, he says it's part of some vows.
Oh, I swear to God, I'm 2 seconds away from forming a giant hammer and beating you both to death.
Hawkgirl is also hesitant, but Mr. Terrific eventually offers support since he has an idea as to where Superman is. I mean, he puts nanites into people so he can track them. What else is new? He takes her in his special vehicle once the garage opens up.
You have a flying saucer, but you couldn't get a faster garage door?
I haven't worked on that yet.
She openly confesses about breaking up with Superman, but Mr. Terrific don't care, because it's time to fly the large-ass T-Sphere! Over the Superman, Lex and Vasil are questioning him while holding Malik, the Superman supporter we've seen earlier, at gunpoint. They want to know who raised him and who he's working for, but our hero doesn't want to answer and begs for Malik's life. Malik tells our hero to not say anything because he's not important and he has no family that the bad guys can use as leverage. Although I'm sure Superman will find a way to save you. Well, double shit! And that only took 2 rounds too. No need to drag it out.
I'll be back later with someone else you've chatted with and I'll kill them too. Maybe that reporter you always do interviews with. Maybe I'll kill Clark Kent.
Yeah, funny thing about that. It does track that while Lex can be so smart, he overlooks the fact that Clark is the secret identity for Superman. Regardless, Metamorpho saw this and starts feeling guilt since he didn't want anyone to die because of him. Lois and Mr. Terrific arrive at Lex's base camp, and the guards there try to stop them. Mr. T confirms that Superman was there, and now he gets to show off how awesome he can truly be. Tech-based heroes beyond Iron Man and Batman don't get enough credit. They can be resourceful, and here, Mr. Terrific just solos every mook around him. I especially love how the supposed tech bros that have no armor or weapons try attacking him but get defeated easily. The scene is just perfect. It makes Mr. Terrific the breakout hero that more people need to know about. Once that's done, he and Lois find the portal machine to the pocket dimension. He goes on about how pocket universes are dangerous for all sorts of reasons, like creating a black hole that can suck up the Earth, or even break the fabric of reality. But to rescue Superman, he hacks the thing so they can get in, although the longer it stays open, the higher the risk it can close up. Speaking of Superman, Metamorpho approaches him to ask if he could save Joseph, as previously suggested. This exchange is enough for him to drop his kryptonite hand, and since Superman isn't recovering, he uses his powers to provide something similar to yellow sunlight so that our hero can heal. As promised, Superman rescues the baby no problem, and he works with Metamorpho to spring Krypto too. The Raptors show up to stop them, and Superman tries fending them off without killing them, while carrying Joseph. And it doesn't get easier when everyone arrives at an anti-proton river. Now this is the kind of action I like to see from Superman. Tough situation, a lot of moving parts, while keeping true to our hero's aim of not getting anyone killed. Mr. Terrific sends out his T-spheres to look for everyone and eventually finds Krypto.
Come on!
No! Eventually, the conflict leads our heroes to a black hole. It's looking like everyone is getting sucked in, but Superman uses his super breath to push them all out of harm's way. Seeing one of the T-spheres, they follow it back to the others, and make it out just as the portal ends up closing on itself. All this took a lot out of Superman, who's also super weak from kryptonite poisoning. Mr. Terrific tells Lois to take him somewhere safe with the T-Craft, while Metamorpho leaves with Joseph after thanking Superman. Lex learned what happened and takes it well.
Pick that up! Eve! Get out of here, you idiot!
Why do you even have her around then? This causes Eve to call Jimmy with an offer. She'll send him compromising dirt on Luthor on her phone in exchange for a date. Jimmy still isn't thrilled, but this could be a big deal, so he says yes. But as she sends over her info, Ultraman stops her, and it looks like all Jimmy got are selfie stuff. Meanwhile, Lois takes Superman to his adoptive parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, played by Taylor Vince and Neva Howell respectively. They're definitely more like the supportive parents I expected them to be, especially Pa Kent, who was a far cry from Man of Steel's version of him. Especially given that one scene where he wants his son to hide his powers and protect himself, even if people would die as a result. This stopover gives Lois a chance to know Clark's childhood, and yep, he was once a punk rocker. All told, Clark became who he was because he had a good life growing up and had the best parents he could ask for. Lois next gets a call from Jimmy about the pictures Eve sent him, and they're not as useless as he thought.
Your hot ex is a genius.
Well, I don't know about that. Lex imprisons Eve and is now thinking about opening up the pocket dimension to unleash something really bad into his world and draw Superman's attention. Mr. Terrific notices the gate reopening and, well...
This is why you don't create a damn pocket universe.
Back to Clark, he's happy to see Crypto again. It's cute, but now it's time for a one-on-one talk with Pa. Clark has doubts about his place on Earth given what his birth parents wanted from him, but Pa has this to say.
Parents aren't for telling their children who they're supposed to be. We are here to give y'all tools, help you make fools of yourselves all on your own. Your choices, Clark. Your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
This is about the one thing that can make up for the change in Jor-El and Lara. It's a good message about actions speaking louder than words, and how it's what people do that defines them, rather than where they're from. Anyway, Baravia is about ready to restart its war with Jahanpar, with the Justice Gang and Clark learning of it on TV. We even see some kids put up a flag as a call for Superman, right when Martha finished cleaning his suit. Unlike the God analogy from Man of Steel, Superman here is a symbol of hope for the downtrodden. Unfortunately, Mr. Terrific also informs Clark that something big is afoot in Metropolis, which could doom the Earth. Quite a dilemma. Over at the Daily Planet, Lois analyzes Eve's selfies and learns that Luthor was planning to own half of Jahanpar by helping Vasil. But why?
He did it in exchange for half of Jahanpur. He wants to make himself king.
Where the hell would Lex want half a desert?
His cultish acolytes believe he's going to create a technologically advanced utopia.
Of course. Though if you wanted that, Silicon Valley is just over there. She and the other reporters get into the tea craft so they can start crafting a report. Hopefully one that can put a stop to Luthor's ambitions. We see the rift starting to tear through the city, which Lex doesn't seem to care about. As structures start coming down and threatening to squish people, Superman comes to push a building up from harming a lady stuck in her car. He's back to full power, and the God rays feel earned this time. He meets up with Mr. Terrific, who's trying to search for the code needed to shut down the rift. And Superman tells him to search in Luthor's place. The Raptors show up to fight again. They knock out Mr. Terrific, meaning Superman has to go up against Ultraman and the Engineer alone. This fight definitely goes hard. But with Lex's guidance, the Raptors subdue Superman. The Engineer uses her nanites to suffocate our hero, but Superman turns the tables by flying up to the atmosphere and freezing off the nanites. He then knocks out the Engineer by taking a nosedive. So all that's left is Ultraman, who just so happens to be...
What the hell? That's right. Cloning you was relatively simple.
That's right, he's a clone! So this was how Luthor broke into the Fortress of Solitude, by using Superman's DNA to create the clone and thereby making it think it was Superman. Luthor thinks that now is a good time for Vasil and Baravia to attack Jahanpar, but...
Sorry, kid. Superman couldn't make it. So you got an upgrade.
Totally within character for him to speak English in a country that might not understand it. Maybe his ring can translate? Whatever, time for more action. Here the Green Lantern really shows his stuff, and even Metamorphos shows up to help out. Hawkgirl picks up Vasil and takes him high in the air, leading to this.
You are too delicate and weak, like Superman.
I'm not like Superman.
I love it when fascists get what's deserved. Lex admits that he only used Baravia to help him defeat Superman. Because why can't everyone else appreciate his genius and wealth instead of flocking to our hero? Am I right? Ultraman shows up again to put the hurt on Superman, and we get that one meme moment.
What a!
Sir, you still haven't hit my battleship. Superman signals Krypto to attack Lex's camera drones, which makes commanding Ultraman much harder for Luthor. So Superman gives his clone the mother of all beatdowns before throwing him into a growing black hole. This may or may not kill Ultraman, although in the world of comics, maybe the black hole can send people to other dimensions. I mean, this could be the origin story for Bizarro.
Hey, this ain't playtime!
Quit messing around!
Where were you, dude? They better hurry because the rift is closing in on more people. Lex still doesn't want to shut down the portal because he wants to punish people for choosing Superman over him. But as he tries to escape in his portal to avoid the mess he made, Superman and Mr. Terrific show up to stop him. While Mr. T shuts the rift down, because he's Mr. Goddamn Terrific, Superman confronts Lex, takes a very racist remark about him in stride, and responds to it.
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared. I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human. And that's my greatest strength. And someday, I hope, for the sake of the world, you understand that it's yours too.
It may be very blunt, but considering how many people need to have things spelled out for them, even Luthor, I can accept this. And Krypto tears into Luthor some more. So the rift closes, Lex's wrongdoings become public knowledge through the Daily Planet, Superman's name is clear, and even the host of the Sphere decides to dunk on Lex. Including...
It seems like the one thing conservatives and liberals can finally agree on is that Lex Luthor sucks.
Ouch. When you lose even conservative viewers, you know you're fucked. John Parr celebrates with the Justice Gang after pushing back Baravia, the people inside Lex's pocket dimension jail are freed, and Eve gets that date with Jimmy. Speaking of Lex, he's going to jail now, which is how I know this is a fictional story. When rich people get held accountable, Lois reunites with Superman for a private interview, but really she's there to recommit to their relationship, and they share the classic mid-air embrace. As the movie winds down, Clark puts in an article to give attention to Moloch for what he did. The robots in the Fortress of Solitude are operational again, and Krypto's real owner shows up.
Okay, well, this is why he has behavioral issues.
Can't wait for her movie. Otherwise, time for more healing. And this time, Superman relaxes by reviewing footage of his Earth parents and the life he shared with them. And it's a very touching moment to end on. So, if you couldn't tell, I really love this movie. It's the near-perfect combination of current trends from DC films that is unashamed of what Superman stands for and lets him be him. The story remembers that his superpowers pale in comparison to his compassion for humanity and empathy for others, which is saying something. His awesome powers are also in service to others, unlike how Luthor uses his intelligence and wealth to make it all about him. Both characters work off each other really well, and they're my favorite interpretations of the characters. The rest of the cast is also really good, from Lois's complex relationship with Clark to the cool Mr. Terrific. Even Ma and Pa can't get a chance to show off where their son got his character from. At most, the reveal of Superman's Kryptonian parents and the public's reactions towards them were the only quibbles I have. Okay, that and Eve. But any complaints I have with them are minor. And I don't mind how some themes are spelt out because the people who really need to hear it need that lack of ambiguity about what Superman stands for. The movie's visuals are also vibrant and colorful, especially Superman's costume, accompanied by excellent fight choreography and a great score by John Murphy and David Fleming. Put together, the movie had positive reviews and grossed $618 million out of a $225 million budget. Considering how previous live-action movies from DC soured public opinion in the 2010s, this is a return to form. One thing is certain, people want to see more of the Superman, and aside from the Supergirl movie coming out this month, we'll also have a sequel film in 2027. If Warner Brothers doesn't mess up with a good thing, we can hope that this new DC cinematic universe will be bigger and brighter than what came before it. And that's that. Next time, we have a new batch of gremlins to deal with. See ya then!